What is popping, y'all, everybody? It's your man, Cloudboy Bales, and welcome to another episode of Wisco Sports Weekly. I've been taking some time off due to being a musician at work and all this other stuff, but I figured since it is finally the end of the NBA season, it's time to finally make the video to talk about what the Bucks should do in this offseason. The question pretty much is the same thing. They keep pulling this every single offseason that, Giannis is going to leave Milwaukee. He's going to request a trade. This talk keeps happening. And all I'm going to say is, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. That's up to him. So we're going to pretend to talk as if he's going to be coming back to the Bucks. I don't want to. If he decides to request a trade and there's things that happen along the way, then obviously these are videos that I obviously would have to make down the line. But we're going to talk in the sense that the Bucks, what should the Bucks do if they want to put themselves in a winning position? And that's, I think, a very important thing. The key is, what do you do knowing that you don't have Damian Lillard all next year? It was brutally, dealing with your calf problems or whatever the problem was that had the arteries, he should have never been playing, and next thing you know, he tears his Achilles. It should be a very great lesson to everybody. Jason Tatum was dealing with some sort of a minor thing, and the next thing you know, he tears his Achilles. Tyrese Halliburton tried playing through the NBA Finals, and he basically tears his Achilles, and he's out for all of next year as well. There's got to be something that people need to understand. If you have a calf problem, don't play through it. Remember when Giannis had a calf problem last year and everyone was demanding that he play through it? He probably would have tore his Achilles. It was the smart move. So I'm kind of glad that wasn't the case. But you know what? We have to figure out what they should do. Now, the problem is, when I made the video talking about the end of the season for the Bucks, I basically stated how it's all over. They should just trade him. They should just rebuild. And, but it's just basically saying that I'm just talking like it's surrender. I don't want to talk like it's surrender right now until it's really up. As I said, it's up to him. I'm not going to say that I really want it to happen. But I feel like that was just my negative talk, and I'm sorry if I really was that way. I didn't want to try to make it look like that, but it is what it is. Anyways, so what we're looking at right now is possibly another big trade that the Bucks might have to pull off in court in case they really want to stay relevant. I was thinking if the Bucks would have went out in the first round or in the playoffs in general, I was thinking they should have traded Dame anyways. I was thinking maybe you go for a younger point guard. Dame's still, valuable. Go for someone younger. There are rumors going out right now that the Bucks might actually trade Damian Lillard to the Wizards, where the Wizards would give Jordan Poole to the Hawks, and the Hawks would give Trae Young to us, as the Hawks are pretty much in a rebuild position as well. The Hawks just haven't been able to make the playoffs, especially with trying to build a super team, and it hasn't really worked out. They're starting to really look like it's going to be rebuilding for the Hawks, so most likely it's rebuild. It's going to be rebuilding for whoever it is. We've already seen a couple trades even before the season ended, which is actually crazy to think about. Desmond Bane got traded to the Magic, and that's a huge move because the Magic already got Banchero, Wagner, and Suggs. Now you add Bane, so it's definitely going to be obvious that that team is definitely going to be a front runner in next year's thing. We also saw Kevin Durant getting traded from the Suns to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks and a first-round pick and a couple second rounds. And for the Desmond Bane, I think it was for Caldwell Pope, Cole Anthony, and 4 first-round picks. Crazy trade, by the way. But it's it's crazy to see that Durant. They already said they were probably thinking, oh, Houston would be the Giannis opportunity, but they went with Durant instead, which is pretty interesting. And then just last night, Drew Holiday, former Buck Drew Holiday, who was obviously won a ring with the Celtics last year, just got traded back to the Portland Trailblazers. Obviously, that's where he was before he was traded to the Boston Celtics for Anthony Simons. So pretty much despite the Boston Celtics not having Jason Tatum, they get a young star in Anthony Simons, who isn't even getting paid much money compared to Drew. An absolute huge win for the Celtics to actually look at themselves and say, man, we actually can still be relevant this year. I mean, that's a great move by Boston. Brad Stevens is a genius. And Drew Holiday's on the market, Bucks. You can go get him back if you want. I would totally be happy about that one if I were the Bucks, but we'll see what happens. I don't know if Portland is going to keep him around this time when we obviously traded him there or not. It's up to them. A couple other news that kind of dropped. Former Buck Chris Middleton also opted into his $33 million deal with the Wizards. Even though, as much as I really wish he would have opted out, it's impossible to turn down that much money to actually play 1 year with an awful team like the Wizards. It's not shocking to me, knowing that he has been injured almost every season, and this pretty much is just a prove-it deal for Middleton at this point. I was hoping that he'd be like a free agent, and he's not even worth much money anymore with his injuries, so honestly, I was hoping he'd opt out, but yeah, how could you turn down a deal like that? I didn't know it was that much. And then also, Pat Connaughton opted into his deal as well with the Bucks. Big thing. So we get him back. So the thing is, there's a lot of free agents on this team. Lillard's going to be out for all year. You still have Giannis that has his couple years left on his contract. Kuzma, obviously, who you traded for, is still with the team because when he signed his year with the Wizards, I think he has another year or two left on that deal. And then a bunch of those young guys, that like AJ Green and Livingston, Tyler Smith. Those are some young guys that were our draft picks or free agent signings in the last couple of years. Those are guys that are still with the organization. I'm not saying that they should trade those guys, but there's not really much you can do. The people that they signed last year are all free agents. You got Taurean Prince, who's a free agent. You got Gary Trent, who really stepped up in the playoffs when Damian Lillard got himself injured. He really stepped up. And it's hard to not say that Gary Trent deserves to be back with this team. He is a huge step, and I definitely would love, if anybody that I would love to come back, they need to sign Gary Trent to a contract. Absolutely. I hope that's the case. And a bunch of other guys as well. Brook Lopez is the big free agent this season. It's most likely that the Bucks are going to move on from him because he is a lot older. He is a lot slower. They try to have him out on the outside, and then he can't defend on the inside too much. He's great. He'll be a great player somewhere else. I'm assuming Brook Lopez is going to go somewhere else. That would obviously leave a flaw at center. Maybe they'll put Giannis in there. I'm not entirely sure. Bobby Portis does have an opt-in, opt-out deal as well. I feel like it's all coming down to what Giannis decides to do because Portis could have decided to opt in or opt out at any point now. I think he's going to opt in. That's my prediction. I think Kevin Porter, who they also just, has an opt-in, opt-out deal as well. They traded for him, and he was a big addition that actually, I don't know how the heck they pulled this off. He actually has a prove-it situation. I think Kevin Porter will actually be back with the Bucks as well. This would be a great situation. I think they'll both opt in, but there could be a lot that goes on. This season really depends. This really depends on, everything that happens. I don't believe these things to be true until they actually happen, and that's how it really should be played out. Anyways. A lot to be said. This East is, because of these injuries, Halliburton's out for the year. I feel like the Pacers will still be a good team, but Halliburton is what will make them win a championship. If Halliburton wouldn't have gotten injured, the Pacers would have won the finals. And I'm sorry, I don't want to sit there and say anything against OKC. Halliburton was literally looking like he was about to go off before that injury. So, quite frankly, that's how I feel. But OKC is going to be the top dog in the West. Obviously, the Rockets will be great too. The Nuggets are going to be great with Jokic. There are a lot of teams, and then of course the Lakers have Doncic and James. We know that all the talent's on that side. The East is wide open. The Knicks pretty much are the favorites. The Cavaliers are probably favorites too, but I hope, obviously when you have a good leader as you have, you're likely not to repeat that same thing. The Cavaliers are top dogs. The Knicks are there as well. Who knows if the Celtics will be relevant? Now that they have Anthony Simons, that could change. The Pacers, they still, despite not having Halliburton, they still have a good team. Obviously, don't forget about Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid will be back. Hopefully they're healthy this season. That's a big key for the Sixers. The Bucks with Giannis. If the Bucks have, even with Giannis, you can still say that they're a relevant team. The Pistons are rising up. They're coming up. They could be a really good team next year. There's a lot to be said. And of course, as I said before, the Magic, I think, are the team that are really going to step out and be the dominant team next year. We don't know what exactly is going to happen with the East next year, which is really exciting. There's a lot that really rides on free agency. But first is the NBA draft. That is actually tomorrow. The Bucks don't have a first round pick, obviously, because we've tried so hard to really make us so relevant that we've traded almost every first round pick. We only have one second round pick that is on Thursday. The draft, actually, this is the first year they're doing it in 2 days. I don't know why they're doing it that way. It's really silly. But first round is tomorrow. Second round is Thursday. A lot can be determined on who maybe the Bucks decide to get. This could be a huge player. A lot of people are thinking, if there was a trade that happened with Giannis, this would be during the draft. But a lot can happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. But regardless, you have to keep your eyes open to make sure nothing happens. And that's what's very, very, very important going forward. That's all I'm going to say today. But I feel like a lot is going to be determined in the coming weeks. Don't know what'll happen. Maybe over the summer. This could take a while. I mean, we didn't know what was going to happen with Aaron Rodgers until now. Now he signs with Pittsburgh. Today he's like, this is likely my last year. A lot can happen. But you gotta pay. This is a situation where I think it's going to be us patiently waiting for something to happen. In the end, if you like what you see, comment below, subscribe with your thoughts, and we will see you next time.